Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He is the journalist.
She's the enthusiast.
I'm always enthusiastic on Throwback Thursday, which it is today.
It is Throwback Thursday. You are repping your Omaha Centrals.
Omaha Central. See,
now, talk about this sweatshirt real quick here.
This is from my senior year, class of 1988. This is the Sacred Sea with the eagle, and it says the real world, seniors, 88. We're out of here. And, yeah, it lists all of our names on here, front and back.
Nice.
So there you go.
Nice.
What are you wearing for Throwback Thursday?
You're wearing your Omaha Centrals. I'm wearing my Fremont Tigers today. We were watching a game of last weekend. It wasn't either of our teams actually, but there was a Omaha Omaha high school football game, Omaha Benson and Omaha Bryan, and they were playing on TV. Since we're not in Nebraska, we don't get to see many Omaha or Nebraska high school football games on TV. And so we were just flipping through the channels and we said, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And so we were looking through and we saw Omaha Central on the schedule for one of the teams that they were playing. And my high school was played one of the teams that was also playing. So we're talking about it and we're saying today's Throwback Thursday. So you're throwing it back to Omaha Central. I'm throwing it back to Fremont Tigers. And it's a beautiful day out today. We've got some great college football we want to talk about going into this weekend. We're going to list off the top 25 teams and who they're playing, and then we're going to go through a couple of the games that we want to talk about as well. We've got a pretty big game in the AAC conference taking off tonight, but we'll get to that in just a moment. But let's go ahead and list off these teams in these games.
List them off.
And let's get rolling here. So Alabama's number 1, and they're playing Tennessee. Penn State's number 2. They're playing Michigan, which is going to be a good game. Georgia's 3. They're off this weekend. TCU is playing KU. That's basically a bye week, I guess.
Wow.
5 is Wisconsin. They're playing Maryland. Ohio State is 6. Clemson is 7. Both of those teams are off. Miami is 8. They're playing Syracuse. A big win for Syracuse off of last Thursday. 9 is Oklahoma. They're playing K-State. That's going to be another big game. And 10 is Okie State and Texas. That'll be another big game.
And number 11, USC is playing at number 13, Notre Dame.
Yes.
Number 12, Washington has a bye, and we just said 13, Notre Dame. Number 14 is Vodtech, and they are hosting North Carolina.
Correct.
And then you've got Washington State, and they are actually hosting Colorado. Then you have, that was number 15. Number 16, NC State has a bye. Number 17,
South Florida,
yes, thank you, is playing Tulane, and they're at Tulane. Then you've got number 18, Michigan State, who is hosting Indiana.
Correct.
I don't know why I'm stumbling so bad. And then you already mentioned that number 19, Michigan, is at Penn State.
Right.
Then UCF Central Florida is at Navy.
Right.
And then you want to do the last 5?
Yeah, Auburn, 21, they're taking on Arkansas. That'll be a good one. 22, Stanford is taking on Oregon State, and not so much. Then 23, West Virginia and Baylor. Past years, that would be a really, really good game, but Baylor is rebuilding, brand new season for them. 24, LSU. They are taking on Ole Miss, which will be an interesting game as well. And then Memphis and Houston. Memphis is 25, and Houston is right there on the cusp as well. So those are some pretty good matchups. Last weekend was similar. There were some really good matchups as well. The big story was that ranked teams playing unranked teams, which a lot of those teams that were unranked very easily could have been ranked. They've been ranked in previous seasons, have been really good championship teams before, but just in this season they weren't ranked going into that week. But this week we do have a top 25 matchup with Michigan and Penn State. That's going to be a really big game. But let's talk about the Memphis and Houston game, as this is a AAC showdown. Thursday night game is a huge stage for anyone that plays on Thursday night.
That's right.
One of my years at K-State, we played Nebraska. It was Nebraska's last year in the Big 12, and it was on a Thursday night, and it was when ESPN was going ESPN 360, and they had the sideline stuff and all the over-the-head stuff, and it was all week. ESPN was on campus. It was really fun, but the point is that it was on Thursday night. So these Thursday night games are huge, very important for a lot of these programs.
You're kicking off the weekend.
It is, right. So
before the NFL started invading, you used to have it all to yourself.
Right. Well, and think about what happened last week. 2 big games. Syracuse took down Clemson, and Cal took down Washington State
on
Thursday night. So Could we see that again? Now, I don't know if this is going to be a huge upset if Memphis loses to Houston. I think Houston is a really good team. Major Applewhite is the head coach. Houston is always a really good team. But Memphis took down Navy last weekend. And so now they jump up into the top 25. What are your thoughts? Who are you picking on this one?
Well, I agree with you. I think Memphis is a good team. I think they're very evenly matched. I love Major Applewhite. He was the quarterback at Texas, and he's young, up-and-coming guy. He's taken over that program from Tom Herman, who has now gone back to Texas.
Yes.
I will say this. I watched Memphis play Navy. It was a really good game. Memphis looked really strong.
Yeah.
I just think in the AAC, they kind of consume each other like a lot of what happens to the Big 12. So I think Memphis is ranked, and Houston's going to come and take him down. And that Houston's coming off a big loss. So I honestly think Memphis may be the better team right now, but just the way it goes, I'm going to pick Houston on that.
And you're probably right on this. I'm going to still stick with Memphis. I think they're playing really good football. I would not be surprised if Houston won, but I'm going to just stick with Memphis on this one.
Well, then I'll throw one out to you. Number 21, Auburn, who we correctly picked, got upset by LSU last week, is playing at Arkansas. So what are your thoughts on that one?
Well, there are some personal feelings there. Coach Smith, my receivers coach at K-State, he was All-American at K-State in the early 90s.
Played a little in the pros.
Played a little bit in the pros. Was my receivers coach. Really great guy. He's been with Brett Bielema down there at Arkansas as the receivers coach for the last few seasons. So I'm always kind of rooting for him every time Arkansas is on TV.
I like Mike Smith.
Yes. But they just have had a really tough year. And, excuse me, Auburn, they have a really good defense. And Jarrett Stidham, transfer from Baylor, pretty good quarterback. I think Auburn needs a bounce-back win. And I think they're probably I'm going to stick with Auburn on this one. But I think Arkansas is going to give them all they can handle. What about you?
Well, this is where we're also split. I agree with everything you just said, including Auburn's defense, all of that. I understand they've got the transfer from Baylor. But I have been saying this all year. I don't believe in Auburn. I think they get the SEC bounce.
I agree.
I knew LSU could get them. And I think Brett Bielema has his back against the wall. They got to go down to Arkansas and here, ooh, you pig suey. And I think Arkansas is going to come out scrapping because they have to. They're tough to beat at home.
Yes.
So I'm calling Arkansas on this. And I'm going to say it's going to be close. There's not going to be any blowouts.
I agree with that.
But I do think Auburn blew a lot of what they had last week. It was a close battle down game. So I'm going Arkansas here.
All right. Well, it's going to be a good game.
It'll be a great
regardless.
game. It'll be a great
All right. Well, let's kind of jump over to the Pac-12. And Notre Dame is still an independent as far as conferences go. But USC is taking on Notre Dame. This is always a huge rivalry game, big game for recruiting. And you could say both teams' backs are against the wall. USC's only lost one game. But it feels like they've lost every game for the most part. They have not been that strong. I think they've had a lot of hype with Sam Darnold. But Notre Dame with Brian Kelly, there's a lot on the line for him in this game. What are your thoughts with this one?
My thoughts are I can't name anybody on Notre Dame's team right now. Like, you know what I mean? Deshaun Kaiser is gone. I don't know anybody on that team, but I have been watching them slowly but surely come from being unranked, I believe, at the beginning of the season, or if they were ranked, it wasn't very high, to really just doing nothing but win. I mean, I think they're, a one-loss team right now?
I believe so.
So you've got 2 one-loss teams. I just am not convinced that USC is the number 11 team in the country. You talk about a team that came in overranked and overhyped. 100%. You know, first of all, you're playing at Notre Dame. Again, it's like Arkansas. There's some fields where you just have home court advantage. Home field advantage, so to speak. Brian Kelly knows he was playing for his life and his job this year. And I think Notre Dame's going to get him. So I'm going Notre Dame, and I'm actually going to go by like 7 to 10 points.
You know, I have a hard time disagreeing there. I actually am going to stick with USC. I think USC has, like I said, their backs are against the wall as well. This would be a huge win for them on the road. USC needs this win to kind of just feel like the ship is righted. So I'm going to go with USC, but it's going to be a really good game. So let's talk about the Okie State-Texas game here. Another really good Big 12 matchup. Texas is on the up and up. Okie State's kind of dropped a little bit, but they're still really good, really strong. What are your thoughts on this one?
My thoughts are Big 12 games are just absolutely hard to predict. They really are. Oklahoma State at Texas. You know, just by the numbers, it looked like Oklahoma State should win, but Texas is playing better and better. I believe in Tom Herman, so I'm going with UT at home.
I'm going to go Okie State here. I think they're playing really good football, but like you said, it's going to be a tough game. This is always a really good matchup.
It's a great matchup.
I think Texas kind of got beat up a little bit after the Red River rivalry last weekend, but I think Texas is still going to be giving them all they can handle. But Okie State, I think, is still going to win.
Well, I know we're getting short of time, but we do have a couple more to go. So Oklahoma is coming to K-State. K-State's coming off a bad loss. What do you think?
I want K-State to win really badly until they switch up the play calling. I think it's going to be tough for them to win. Oklahoma's a really good team. Unfortunately, I have to pick against the Cats this weekend.
I have to agree with you. And I was going to say when Jesse Ertz went down, that really hurt their chances. But I agree with you. It's more the play calling than it is the players.
Yes.
So I'm going to go Oklahoma against my Wildcats, which breaks my heart.
Yes.
So that brings us to the final one.
Yes.
The final pick for the week.
Correct.
And that's Penn State versus Michigan.
Yes. Penn State, Michigan. It's a big game. It's a big game.
Actually, you know, Michigan coming to Penn State. Everything you see is they're doing a big whiteout. James Franklin should get Coach of the Year for the next 5 years for what he has done.
Definitely.
Picking up Penn State literally out of the ashes. Bill O'Brien tried to lift him up. They treated him dirty. He left, and James Franklin came in there and said, "I will lift you. Come with me." And they're back. I mean, Happy Valley is happy again.
Oh, they're back.
You know, they're
back
full
for
sellout
sure.
whiteouts. So it's going to be a great game. I will go ahead and make my pick real quick. It's Penn State. I'm sorry, Michigan. I love Jim Harbaugh. I love the enthusiasm what he's doing. I love my Wolverines. But you guys have been struggling every week. Penn State is not struggling. They are whooping. And I think you're going to have your hands full, and I think it's going to be Penn State pretty big, actually.
Yeah, it's Penn State at home. Saquon Barkley's a Heisman front runner, and this is going to be a fun game. But Michigan just has no offense right now, and Penn State they're just rolling. They're looking really strong right now, and so it's going to be hard to beat Penn State at home. So I'm going Penn State. It's going to be a great, fun.
You know what I just realized? I know the fight song from this school and this school.
Yes, we got a lot of fight songs.
We got a lot of I memorized all the fight songs.
Well, that's what's awesome about college football is there's always a fight song that you can chant and cheer and sing loudly. And so we want to say we're going to watch all these games this weekend and stay tuned. And we want to say appreciate your time. We'll see you again, folks.